Hi guys, so I wanted to make this video to basically talk about how I travel alone and how I meet people when I travel alone. I know this can be really scary for people, and they think when they hear people are traveling alone, traveling solo, they think, oh, like, why would you want to do that? But actually, it's so easy to meet people when you travel alone. I actually, in a way, prefer traveling alone because I think it gives you the opportunity to meet new people and to kind of go outside your comfort zone. Because in a way, when you travel with people, sometimes you stay with them because it's comfortable, that's what you know, and you don't really kind of go out your way to meet people, new people, because you don't have to. So yeah, that's why I love traveling alone. I think it's such a great opportunity to meet new people. But obviously, if you're not exactly an extrovert personality, then you may find it difficult to meet people when you're traveling. And so I just wanted to share my experience of how you can meet people and how you can have a really good time when you're traveling alone. I've had a few people ask me like why I travel alone, and basically asking like, is it difficult to meet people when you're traveling alone? So I thought this was a really good video to make, and I've had a really good reaction to my previous video, not my previous video, the one before that, about how much it costs to backpack in Thailand, and I thought this is really cool. I'm getting loads of people commenting, and people are finding it helpful as well. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to help people and give them advice if they're thinking about traveling alone. Okay, so I think hostels are probably the easiest way to meet people when you're traveling. Usually, it's not always possible depending on where you are, but I always try to pick a hostel with self-catering facilities. Usually in these hostels, you'll find that people, especially in expensive countries, to save money, they will go to the shop and cook their own food in the hostel. This is such a good way to meet people who are also traveling alone, because they'll cook their own food in the area, then they'll sit down, eat their food, and ask them if you can like sit with them and eat your food and get to know them. They're probably, well, the chances are they are traveling alone as well. So don't feel nervous, don't feel stupid. In hostels, it's such a common thing to do, and no one will think that you're weird for approaching people and talking to them. And also with hostels, definitely get a shared room, get a shared dorm in a hostel with other people. This is probably the easiest way to meet people, because obviously other people will be staying there who are traveling alone, and they'll want to do things. They're there to travel, do things, and especially people traveling alone, they'll want to meet other people and do things with those people. Walk in there, greet them, get to know them, and they'll probably really appreciate that, because when I'm traveling alone, I always hope that people will kind of like say hi to me and get to know me. If not, then I'll say hi to them and get to know them, and chances are you'll end up doing something with them. So when I book hostels, I try to look for hostels that, firstly, I book them through hostelworld.co.uk or .com, and basically you can see a description of the hostel, and you can see whether they have events that they carry out. For example, some hostels have free pub crawls, some hostels have free walking tours, some of them have communal areas, pool table, some hostels have bars. These are all really good things if you want to meet people, because it shows that the hostel is kind of quite a social place. For example, if you go on a pub crawl, you're gonna meet people who are also traveling alone, and it's a really good way just to tag along. So many people do it. I've been on not loads of pub crawls, but a few, to meet new people, and the majority of people are traveling alone because they go on the pub crawl to meet people to go out with. Just do it, and you'll definitely have a good time and you won't regret it.
Also, another thing that I found that
if you're going to go in a shared room, look for one with Wi-Fi in the actual room, not just in the social area. Usually when people are hanging about in their rooms, they will be on their phone, they'll be on their laptop, or reading or something like that, but usually on their phone, chilling, not doing much. And that's like a good opportunity to go up to people, be like, oh hey, how are you? Like, where are you from? Blah, 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 and start a conversation. If there isn't Wi-Fi in the room, then people are less likely to stay in there, and then you're less likely to meet the people in your room, except from when they're going to bed and when they don't really want to socialise too much. So yeah, always look for a room with Wi-Fi in the room, and then that's when people will be chilling, hanging out in the room, and that's when you can start talking to them and engage in a conversation.
So if the entire concept of travelling on your own completely scares you...
I've never actually been on one myself, but you can go on tour groups. You've got groups such as Kontiki, Gap 360, that's also a website, and they go all over the world. And it will, for example, they'll have an 18 to 30 age group, tour group, and they'll go to different countries, and you can travel around with a group of people who are like similar to you in age, and they'll take you everywhere. The trip will be organised, they'll have transport for you to go on, for example a coach that everyone will go on, and then you will go all over the place, for example all over Europe, all over Australia, travelling with the same group of people, staying at different locations with the same group of people. And that's a really good opportunity to travel with like-minded people who want to go to the same places as you, and really get to know those people, because you'll be with them for minimum like 3 days to however long the tour lasts for, and you'll really get to know them on a personal level. Yeah, doing all the excursions with them as well. And basically you're not responsible for organising anything yourself. They can be expensive because everything's paid for by them, you just give them the money and they organise everything. But if you're nervous about travelling on your own, you've never done it before, then it's probably a really good opportunity to see the world, but in a way that's less independent and easier to meet people. You're guaranteed to make friends. Okay, another way to meet people is by volunteering. I did this last year when I went to Thailand, and I volunteered for 2 weeks in like a preschool with children. And that's a really good idea if you want to go to a different country but you're again quite nervous. So volunteering basically guarantees that you'll be with other people. If you go through an organisation, I used Gap 360, which I'll put just here. They were really good. You just pay them a certain amount of money depending on how long you're volunteering for. They'll provide your accommodation, they'll provide food, usually if you pay a bit extra, and as well, obviously, some excursions they can pay for depending on the company, and then you're volunteering as well. You'll be with other people, and then you never know, that person might want to travel somewhere on the weekends. Usually you'll get weekends free and you can go to different places, and it's a really good way to kind of, yeah, do it with people. So finally, I'm going to talk about joining a language class basically. When I went to Berlin, not last summer but the summer before, I basically went to a language class, and like a German language class, and that was all foreigners basically who were either living in Germany or just there short term like I was. I was there for 2 months, and that is such a good way to travel around and also learn a skill as well, and meet other people who also maybe want to travel around. If you're a young person, then there are lots of young people who do that. They're going to school basically and also learning the language alongside that. And for example, on weekends, they might want to go somewhere, they might want to do things. And if you're there as well on your own and you want to do things, then it's a really good way to meet other people.
So yeah, learn a language or any skill.
Even you can do cooking courses in most countries. But finally, it's important to kind of, when you're traveling alone, don't have high expectations that you'll always be with someone, because sometimes maybe you'll go to a hostel and it won't be that great, and maybe it's low season, for example, when you're traveling, so other people, maybe the hostel won't be full, there'll be like maybe one other person who's in the room, but then they're hardly ever there because they're out all the time. And sometimes you are going to be alone, and that's a chance for you to do things on your own, be independent, and sometimes that's really good because you don't want to be overwhelmed by new people all the time and new places, because that can be so knackering. Sometimes you just want to be on your own and have a walk around a city, have a walk around the sightseeing area, wherever, and it can be such a good experience to do that. And I think as well you learn so many skills doing that, to be independent and still have fun basically. So anyway, I'm gonna round off this video now, so I really hope that anyone watching this who is thinking about going travelling on their own found it helpful, and if you found it useful, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I will try to make more videos more regularly. And yeah, if anyone, and I'm planning on going to Nepal and to the Philippines over summer, so if anyone has been to those countries and can recommend anything to do, I'd really appreciate that, because I'm not too sure on, I basically want to go trekking in Nepal, and then in the Philippines I'm not too sure where to go whatsoever, so please give me some tips and advice if you've been there, and if you have any recommendations of what to do, where to go. I'm completely open to anything. Give me some advice in the comments section below, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video.